Now, as we gather tonight to contemplate one of the greatest truths of our faith, the resurrection of Christ, I want to start by referencing one of my favorite passages from Isaiah chapter 9. The people who sat in darkness have seen a great light. Upon those who dwelt in the land of gloom, a light has shone. You have brought them abundant joy and great rejoicing. For a child is born to us, a son is given to us. Upon his shoulder dominion rests. They name him Wonder Counselor and God Hero. So let's think about that for a minute. Our God is our hero. Now, when we hear the word hero, we often think of characters in movies. The only thing is they're not real heroes, they're actors. And they're acting out a fictitious story written by a writer. And so basically it's sort of like a play that's been recorded with modern recording devices. So movies can engage our emotions very powerfully. That's why sometimes people cry at a movie, even though they know it's not real. They just get so entrenched. And sometimes we can rejoice. The movie can make us happy. We can leave feeling really good, feeling like we got our money's worth. And many times in the movies, it seems like the hero gets into trouble. And then at the end, it seems like he's been defeated. He's dead. And then all of a sudden there's a little twist at the end, and either a sign will show that he's not, or he himself emerges almost like a resurrection, victoriously. There is the hero. He has defeated his enemies. Even though they brutalized him and may have damaged him along the way, he emerges victorious in great strength. Well, Jesus is a real hero, and I would submit the ultimate hero. Jesus has come down from heaven to enter into our world, to enter into our suffering. What one could almost call, when the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, he put on his suffering suit to become one with us. Now, in the world of man, many times the president or the king sends his soldiers out into war. You know, like we had our presidents who were safe in the White House with cushioned chairs and air conditioning. Meanwhile, our soldiers at the time might have been in Vietnam, in the jungle, in the Hanoi Hilton, suffering as prisoners. Now, wouldn't it have been interesting the president be in the jungle with them, side by side, sharing in the fight, even taken prisoner? Our Lord was taken prisoner. Our Lord suffered. Have we ever experienced being mocked, made fun of? Our Lord did too. He completely entered into the human suffering, physically, emotionally, and mentally. He truly became like us in all things but sin. So our God came from heaven to become one of us. And his enemies seem to be rejoicing over him. We've defeated him. He's dead and buried. We're done. And they were rejoicing for a while. But then something happened. The angel came, rolled back the stone, and sat on it. And the Roman soldiers, who were the best soldiers at the time, says they became like dead men at the sight. They weren't about to fight an angel. And so they just stood there in shock, watching. And the Lord had risen from the tomb. So they went and reported it to the Pharisees. And their rejoicing probably changed to a very somber moment. So we see the interesting contrast. No doubt at the resurrection of Jesus, as the news spread, the angels in heaven are rejoicing, and the demons in hell are terrified. The holy people, the humble servants of God, Mary Magdalene, the sinners, the disciples are all rejoicing when the Lord shows up and they see him. I am risen. Believe. And so while that's happening, the Pharisees, the enemies of the Lord, are in total confusion and defeat. Quite the contrast. So our Lord, after entering into our world and becoming one of us, he comes forth from the tomb, resurrected from the dead by his own power. And the thing that the world doesn't understand, you often hear the world talking about, many times you can see Napoleon said it, and I think Stalin talked about, we're going to defeat the Catholic Church. We're at war with God. We're going to put this superstitious nonsense about God to an end so no one hears of him or believes in him anymore. God laughs. How can you fight the very source of your existence and power and knowledge? Now, think about it. The old days, they used to have those guys that would go underwater in a diving suit. And they were totally dependent on the guys in the boat. They had a chain or something that they would need to pull them back up to the boat. And they had the airflow coming. So if the guy in the boat, he's talking to him or something, the guy down there is threatening him. Oh, you're going to threaten me, really? Well, okay, I'll just cut the chain and the oxygen, and there you go. That's the end of that threat. We cannot take on God. The world cannot take on God. When Jesus says, I am, and God says in Exodus 3, I think it's 15, I am who am. He is the source of his own existence and the existence of everyone and everything in the universe. So, how do you fight against reality itself, existence itself, life itself? It's absurd. So the world, people go around and say there is no God. That's a fantasy in their hearts and minds, soon to be revealed as a fantasy when the reality of God somehow finds its way into their life, hopefully in this world before they die. When the world leaders seek to do evil, the dictators, where are they now? Caesar. Nothing left of Caesar but a salad, and it's not that great anyway. I don't like salad dressing. I much prefer balsamic vinaigrette myself. So Hitler, Stalin, and whoever we got now, whoever our little dictators are in various countries, whoever is seeking power grabs wherever, and even maybe a little of that going on here, are they really going to defeat God? They're defeating themselves. They're their own worst enemy. There's no victory over God. It's absurd. The only victory is when we recognize that we are his creatures. He created us. We are his servants. He died on the cross for love of us, and he seeks to forgive us and have us join with him in heaven. When he emerged from the tomb on Easter Sunday, he not only was returning himself to life, but bringing us with him into paradise, beginning the new creation, the new world. The old one had gone. We sing in the Exultet, "Oh, happy fault that merited so great a Redeemer, our Lord Jesus Christ, victorious over sin and death." And so when we side with him against sin, against darkness, against the flesh and the lies of the world, then we share in that victory. Then we are victorious with him forever over suffering and sin and death, and forever in the joy of paradise, never again to be taken from us. That's the story of the hero, the God hero, Jesus Christ, and that's our story. We get to join with him. We get to be heroes with our Lord when we struggle against sin and help bring others with us to heaven, to bring others by our prayers and our words and example to join in belief in the gospel, to get them away from the darkness of sin and its death and separation from God, which is really another definition of death. I mean, sin is separation from God in its basic understanding. And that's death, because, I mean, what do you call it when you separate yourself from the source of life? It's death. And so there is the source of life, our God hero, our creator, our redeemer, our sanctifier, our only hope at getting into paradise. One thing's for sure, everybody would like to be in paradise. That's one thing everybody can agree on. And I'm pretty sure everybody can agree that while we're here in this world, we're definitely not there. The place that the world divides and disagrees is on how to get paradise. Some try to seek it here, in the things of this world, in sin and physical pleasures that are sinful. Not every physical pleasure is a sin. I mean, Jesus created wine as his first miracle, and they had the best wine probably ever created in the world, the wedding feast of Cana. Jesus would walk in the countryside in the joy of the sunlight with the disciples, teaching them about God, joyful and happy moments. So we need to recognize that the true path to life, the true path to paradise is Jesus Christ. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He said, my kingdom is not of this world. For this purpose did I come into this world, to give witness to the truth. And all who are of the truth hear my voice. So that is the message of our God hero as we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. Let us celebrate because it is our resurrection, spiritually in this world, through faith, hope, and love, through a life of prayer, obedience to the Ten Commandments, worthy and frequent reception of the sacraments, especially confession, the Eucharist. That is the path to life that Jesus Christ won for us on Good Friday and Easter Sunday.